Hi everyone, my name is Nicole Moss, co-founder of Moss Consulting. I'm so excited to be here with Araceli Frazier to talk about all things real estate, entrepreneurship, and Easton Park. So Araceli, thank you so much for being here. How long have you been in Easton Park, and is Easton Park the reason that you got into real estate, or were you doing real estate before you moved to the community?
Actually, I was a portrait photographer for 20 years.
Okay.
I've been in the neighborhood probably since about 2017. We used to live in Bryant Park, had a house by Braun over there. It was a beautiful home. And the great thing about Easton Park is that there's so many different builders, so no house looks the same. But anyhow, Easton Park, about 6-7 years. There was just a time of change, and we ended up selling that house. I was like, I love Easton Park, so I'm going to buy one of the little condos. So that's where I ended up. I'm a UPE with just me and Oliver. Great little floor plan. But so as far as real estate, I was thinking about real estate for years prior. Being as a photographer, I feel like I've never really had the passion for photography, but I was really good with people. So I was like, how can I turn this into something else that I want to do besides taking pictures of babies and families, which is fun and great. So I was like, real estate. And that was probably almost about 6 years ago. And I am so excited that I made that transition. It's been wonderful.
Awesome. That's great. You do a lot of, you're an entrepreneur as a real estate agent. And so it's been really fun to watch you kind of market in the space, especially in Easton Park. And what I think is just so unique about what you do is you take business owners and you like kind of lift us all up with you. And you sent out a flyer that had a bunch of logos of local Easton Park owned companies. So can you tell me about your passion about entrepreneurship?
Oh, geez. So I love Easton Park, and it really shows when I'm talking to clients and when I'm meeting people. They come in and they're like, oh, I'm just kind of thinking about it. I was like, well, let me tell you about Easton Park. Have you been to the amenity center? We have an HOA, and it's not like an HOA that you hate. It's an HOA that like puts on events and stuff like that. But one thing I've noticed is that there's so many entrepreneurs, and here, since we're so southeast, like it's important for us to have resources. So I did start the Instagram page, which is shop.eastonpark, which I am so excited. I think I have about 60 businesses on it now.
Wow.
And it is so cool. Like I'm like, hey, I saw you on Work It Wednesday. Tell me about your business. Would you like to be part of this directory? And everyone's been super receptive. I've learned about so many people's businesses. Did you know that there's a children's music teacher?
I didn't.
Yeah, I didn't know
That's
that
awesome.
either. Like he teaches like piano or something. And then of course like all the bakeries and the massage therapists. But it really, it's exciting to see our community grow and have so many resources and services provided.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's really fun to support and
Yeah.
be a part of, and like to go down the street to get a massage was the best.
Right? Have you been?
Yeah.
Have you? Okay.
Yeah, she's amazing.
So funny about her is she was also a client of mine. She was looking somewhere else. I think maybe she was dabbling about coming to Easton Park, and I'm like, no, girl, let me tell you about Easton Park. And she sent me a message not too long ago. She was like, you literally changed my life. Like this community has uplifted me. I'm so glad that I have the opportunity to like be a part of this community where people want to use each other as resources and all this stuff. So she was like, come get a massage from me. I'll give you 50% off your first one. And I was like, let's do it. But I haven't done it yet. So
she's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah, we really liked her. She's awesome. And she's just right here. So
and she's right there.
So great.
Well, and then also too, if you're thinking about like the food trucks, like I tell Nancy and Harrison all the time, I'm like, you changed the culture of our food trucks, like straight up. It became something that people want to do every day. Let's walk to get coffee. And now, you've been here pretty long in the neighborhood, and you see, it started with just one little truck and little coffee. And now we have 5 or 6, and it's awesome. Growing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. We love Saniso and Nancy and Harrison. I think it's just such a testament to the community. And, I think what I love most about Easton Park is there's so many people from so many walks of life. and we're all here together, and it's like so supportive and so positive, and just it's just a really fun community.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think that when you live in it and you can sell it, because other real estate agents who don't live here, they don't know about all the cool things that happen, which is great. So very exciting. Let's move on to marketing. You have a very cool marketing strategy. Would love to hear how you came up with that and what it is. How does it work?
Mostly, are you just talking about my socials or?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I feel that even that IG shop.eastonpark, I really want to be a resource, not just for all things real estate. I mean that's what I do. I'm a realtor, of course, but I want to be a resource for us. So I've really honed in on that. I was really trying to figure out how I wanted to spend my time, what was going to be the most fulfilling to me. And the biggest thing is uplifting people. So I find that if I give out good energy, I get good energy back. So that's a big part of my marketing, is just showing and letting people know that I care about them and their business, and how we can all be a unit here at Easton Park. I also love doing like my Real It in Wednesdays, which is kind of like a fun little 1 minute whatever, whatever people are talking about. A lot of times it's interest rates, for sure. The market has changed a lot, and it's important that we're watching the trends, and you can't just say, oh, I think my house is going to sell for this amount. No, there's a market, and we need to kind of really deep dive into that. But a lot of it is just informing people and being a resource. That's my main marketing strategy.
Awesome. That's great. So there are a lot of incredible real estate agents in this neighborhood.
Absolutely.
And it's close to home because they're your neighbors, and I'm sure everyone's friends.
Yeah.
Like how is there like some secret like real estate underground code of like, I get this part of the neighborhood, you get that part of the neighborhood?
No. I feel like people just connect with different people. You know, there are some people that it's just about connection, and that's the biggest thing. And there's plenty of business for lots of realtors, and that's my biggest thing is at Realty Austin, we always talk about, I don't need it all, I just need enough. And, I feel like sometimes it's overwhelming to be a realtor, and there's so like the whole like, not everybody's going to want to work with me. And I think it's fair to say on the other end too, and that's business.
That's business. Yeah, exactly. It's really fun to see like multiple agents like team up together and sponsor things together.
Right.
One of my favorite mentors once told me, he's like, it's all about opening your arms and sharing. Let's all make money, not hold this kind of mine mentality. It sounds like that's what you all have put together.
Well, and that's kind of like the mindset of abundance. Like there's plenty of business for everyone, you know. And speaking of kind of collaborating, I collaborated with a couple girls at my brokerage where we would host events, and we had a live stream, and it was really fun. And it's just kind of different chapters in our real estate journey and Easton Park journey. So it's been great.
I think in any profession, to have colleagues that understand the just grind that you do every day, to be able to really be like offload some stress, or maybe you have a tricky client, or just somebody that you really like, to be able to share those stories with people who like intimately understand what you do, it's really healthy and I'm sure very fulfilling.
Yeah, because it looks really, the good realtors make it look easy. It is not like the easiest thing, and it is, like you said, it's important to have those people where you can relate to, and they can relate to you. And the good news is that we live in such a wonderful community. There's not a lot of negativity here. So it's really been, it's encouraging, and we encourage each other as realtors, I think.
That's awesome. You mentioned earlier about what you put out into the universe is what you get back. I'm a firm believer of that. you spend a lot of time donating your time when you're not working. Can you tell us a little bit about your passion in philanthropy and giving?
Yeah, well, I feel like it really kind of started once I joined Realty Austin. I've always kind of wanted to, just tiny snippet of my background. I was adopted and fostered and group homed and all those things. So having resources for me growing up was super, super helpful. And to this day, I'm 44, I think. Yeah, 44. And to this day, my social worker sends me a card for every single holiday.
Oh.
Clearly, she's not my social worker anymore, but that's the kind of impression that I want to leave on people. And anytime I see a social worker, I meet a social worker, I'm like, oh my God, I love social workers. Like, you change lives. And that's kind of like how I feel and how I take on when I decide I want to donate my time, my money to organizations. A lot of it is, we do Habitat for Humanity, which is great. Like, we get to build houses, and that's really cool just to kind of see it constructed from like the slab all the way up, and we're out there grinding and nailing and all that stuff. But my biggest passion is foster kids and working with, just mentally abused children and stuff like that. I think it's so important that they feel loved. I always really talk about how there's moments that change your life. And I feel like I would not be where I'm at today if I didn't have those one or two people in my corner.
Yeah.
My social worker, I was thinking about this the other day. She used to come see me once a month. Maybe it was like once every 2 months, but she would come and see me and she would bring me a bag of peanut M&Ms and a Pepsi. And that was like, I always loved like that combo. I don't know why, but she would always say, okay, before you can have these, I want you to say, my name's Araceli and I'm lovable. And like, I always joke about it. I'm like, maybe I'm not that lovable, but the fact that that seed was planted in my head at a very important stage of my life makes me pretty lovable. And I mean, who doesn't?
Yeah. Yeah.
But so that's really important to me. I say we because my brokerage is very involved in, a lot of our volunteer time, but we work with SAFE, we work with Settlement Home for Children, Table of Grace. Table of Grace is a wonderful organization because what it is when foster kids are emancipating or aging out of the system, a lot of times it's like, where do they go? What do you do? And I believe her name is Stacy. She's the founder, and she was also a foster child. And she was like, I was just blessed enough to end up in a really great situation and relationship. And I kept thinking about these kids that, once they age out, it's just kind of like, good luck,
They're still kids.
Yeah, they're still kids, and it's hard. And, everything is so generational right now. And I mean, just, and everything, whether you're going to college, where you're purchasing a home, you are a product of what you've been looking at. So it's important that we're continuing to guide our children and, our neighbors' children and all the things, because we're really we're all the same.
Yeah. It takes a village.
Yeah, literally.
That's awesome. Well, that's amazing. And I'm sure that, not everything ties back to business, but I think that like you said, when you put out into the world, good things come back to you.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that many, many great things are coming back your way all the time.
Yeah, thanks.
For the work that you're putting out there.
Anytime I'm doing something that I'm like, oh, why am I doing this? I'm like, I'll be rewarded in heaven. And I don't mean like volunteer my time. I'm just like, there are moments in life when you're dealing with things that are just crappy, and like, why is this going on? Why is this happening? And that's kind of what I like to impose on, our younger generation, and especially these kids that are in group homes and foster homes, because like, it's going to be okay, and we're going to push through this. So
I love that. What advice would you give to first-time home buyers wanting to move into Easton Park?
Well, I would say be realistic. And I do feel like a lot of, I don't know about you, but I feel like me, when I was mid-20s, I wasn't in the same income bracket where a lot of these mid-20-year-olds are. What I love about Easton Park, you know, as a realtor, it's really comforting to see people move in and kind of a starter home and then kind of transition in their life. And then I see them kind of hop around to different neighborhoods.
What I think has been really fascinating to watch is so many people like may have bought a house in like Bryant Park or here in Nob Hill and then have like sold and bought a house in another area. So it's really kind of cool that Easton Park has the ability to, no matter what stage of life you're in, there's a home size and community for you. Have you seen a lot of that?
That's like one of my favorite things to talk about when I'm talking to clients. You know, I do work with a lot of first-time home buyers, and a lot of the phases of Easton Park aren't really first-time home buyer homes. But I'm always encouraging, because I'm like, maybe you start in one of the condos, or maybe you start in one of the courtyards and eventually move into that grand 3-car garage Taylor Morrison home. And I see that happen so much, like someone buying a new PW and then end up, you know, in Skyline, or a lot too in Bryant Park, because Bryant Park was the first phase. So Bryant Park, and then they're moving to, you know, I've seen an upgrade to Nob Hill, to Skyline, to Discovery. So I think there's a lot to be said about our neighborhood doing that. Like, literally, people do not want to leave. They want to upgrade their house, but want to stay in our community, which is huge. I think it's very telling for the neighborhood and the people that are a part of it. So I love telling prospects and people that are looking at Easton Park about it. I think when you compare Easton Park to another community, it's really hard to. There are other neighborhoods that are good and nice, but I always say it's no Easton Park, and obviously I'm partial because I love it here, but we have built such a community that it's great to see people kind of moving around. My son, I don't know, I'm sure you know little Oliver, but he goes to Newton Collins, and one of my favorite things is to see him and his little buddies riding their little bikes. Or we had a sleepover the other night, and he's like, "Mom, we're gonna walk to the food trucks to get some tacos." And I was like, that's the cutest thing, you know? And sorry, I got off topic, but I love that you can come into Easton Park and grow whatever way that looks. Like, whether it's an upgrade or a downgrade, or you want to have your sister or your mom, you know, come live in Easton Park as well. I do have a client that bought the one right next to me, and then they're like, "Ooh, we need a little bit more space. Can we buy another one?" So they own two. They own two now, and they let their daughter live in one. And that's
awesome.
That's what Easton Park's about, is just, you know, whatever, adapting to your life, and there's something for everyone here. Yeah, for sure.
It's great. We love to watch the kids like after school. And it seems like, I don't know that you get this anymore, especially as, you know, in Austin and these larger cities where kids are riding their bike home from school, and you know, you have kind of like a neighborhood watch on these kids where, you know, we see our neighbors down the street and we'll be like, "Hey, you should probably be heading back home now," or you know, he'll tell us what he's doing, and just to get to know, you know, the kids and watch them ride around on their bikes together, and it's just really cool. It's really cool, and I don't think that it's super common. And I love
anymore,
it.
Right?
Yeah.
Not anymore.
Yeah. So it's really fun to watch, and just it's like touching to watch them go around and feel safe and be able to go to the food trucks and the whole thing. I think it's just really unique.
Right. And then now with the park, I mean, that park is crazy. I was over there on the zip line the other day. I'm like, let's play. And that's another thing. Like, it's just such a fun place to live.
It is. There's always something to do. You know, there's really no reason to be bored here, and lots of clubs and lots of all the things, activities, concerts, parks, all these parks that are popping up. And I think they do a really good job. Everything's always so manicured and beautiful, and it makes you want to be there. Everything's lit up really well. So it feels, it's just a great place.
Yeah.
We love Easton
and then
Park.
when you think about the future of Easton Park, you know, I saw a map from Brookfield, and the map is always kind of changing. You know, we've been here long enough that we know that what they say was going to happen might not happen, but it's because we're growing at such a rapid pace that they're trying to accommodate, the developers trying to accommodate everyone. But I see the future of Easton Park. This is its own part of Austin, you know, just kind of like a Mueller. That's what we are over here in Southeast Austin. But, you know, with that slaughter coming through, that's going to be huge. And then they're talking about domain-ish area. Well, they always talk about there's going to be another domain. Regardless, it's going to come. Southeast Austin is where it's at right now in respects to growth and what Austin is capable of. So I love that for us. I love that for our community. I love that for the growth. And I'm just excited to see what Easton Park's going to do.
When it becomes, it's going to be neat. If you're living in Easton Park and you find yourself in a position where you do need to move, so you need to sell your house and buy. If you're living in Easton Park and you find yourself in a position where you do need to move, so you need to sell your house and buy your house, and buy a new house or build a new house,
right?
Is there a strategy to doing that well?
Well, honestly, I feel like sometimes I've talked people out of selling houses, just because if they bought it at that good price point or that good interest rate, if you don't have to sell your house, why not lease it out? There's plenty of people that want to come and rent an Easton Park. But if you do need to sell your home before you get into a new one, the biggest thing is pricing. You know, we were coming off what was 2 years ago where it was super crazy. The prices were like so inflated that wasn't sustainable. And now let's get back down to reality. I feel like our property values have definitely gone up. So it's important to put your best foot forward with your staging and your marketing and all that good stuff. But mostly just if you could hang on to it, you should probably hang on to it because this is such a great area. It's going to continue to grow. And I feel very strongly about owning property in Easton Park.
Awesome. Good. We both experienced Easton Park early on before there was an amenity center. I think the closest thing or the only thing that we had originally was Bryant Park, the park in the middle.
Yep.
Which is very cool. But that was it. And we all figured out how to hang out down there and
we sure did, didn't we?
picnics and I think we did field days back then. It was really fun. But there's life before the amenity center and there's life after the amenity center.
Right.
Can you kind of just talk through your experience of before and after the amenity center, the Union?
Oh my gosh. I remember it's just kind of like right now when everyone's like, oh my God, when's the REALTOR going to come in? They said it was going to happen this date. Well, that also happened with the amenity center. It was delayed, I think almost a year. But once it was alive, it was, and you know, back then when our neighborhood was just Bryant Park and Nob Hill, everyone really knew each other.
Yeah.
You know, we would have, the HOA would host those pool parties. The HOA worked so hard just to get everyone together. And that amenity center, you know, I still tell people, I'm like, this is resort style living, you know? But I kind of, you know, when I'm prepping people about coming to the pool, I was like, it gets crowded, you know? But I remember back in the day when it was hardly anyone there.
Yeah.
So I love that. I also love, you know, the fact that Skyline Park just came in, so they have the splash pads. But there was really nothing for us. It was kind of like being a kid in the 80s or 90s where you just like played with a little string and a ball or whatever it is. That's what we were doing. We were figuring out how to have fun. And now with the pool and all the parks and the trails and stuff. So there was,
and the food trucks.
And the food trucks.
Way back in the day, nothing would deliver out here.
Nothing.
Every once in a while, we could talk someone from Craigos to bring us something, but it was like, it was a sales job to do that. But I remember nights in the summer when the pool first opened up, being, you know, like everyone was over there and there was plenty of space, and you know, it's fun to watch it now be so crowded and so utilized, which is what it's there for.
Well, the whole transition was kind of like crazy. If you think about it, there was a pool. It was so exciting. We were all there, just Bryant Park and Nob Hill, and then COVID happened.
Right.
So COVID, we couldn't do anything. And then as soon as we could, it was like our community had doubled in size.
Right.
We're not, I don't feel like as a development, we weren't really prepared for that growth and to see that, just kind of like the real estate market, went from here to here real quick.
Right.
And I mean, I love that people love to have fun. I like to have fun too, but it was a little bit overwhelming. There was a point where I'm like, ooh, I don't even want to go to the pool anymore.
Right, right. It was different because it was like your own kind of, you could be in the bottom pool and have that all to yourself while people were being social in the top pool. But now that's just not the case. And I see both sides of it. I loved when it felt like a private little club that, we only had access to. But now it's really fun to watch the growth, and it was a really fast shift because during COVID, I thought the pool was even a little better during COVID because we had to schedule time, and so it was back to
I totally forgot about that.
And then so you're back to only having a few people in the pool, and it was like, whoa, this is like a private pool. It was really cool.
And you're texting your friend like, hey, can you schedule a slot?
Right. Oh, that's right. And you couldn't never miss your scheduled spot. Remember?
Yeah, or you would get
and then you'd get banned for like 2 weeks or so. It was
oh
we were
my
all
gosh,
trying to figure it out.
COVID was crazy.
COVID was crazy. But it was really cool to have a place to go for anyone at anyone's comfort level during COVID, to go to the Union, see your neighbors, and have like a space where it still felt a little bit like community.
Right.
But I did find it crazy. It was like so much change without putting the clutch in from before COVID to after COVID. And you're just like, whoa, because I feel like in the beginning everyone knew everyone. What was going on. It felt like a small little town that it just really community based. And we had like the cooking clubs where people would host in their homes. So everyone got to, go in and be guests. And it was just really cool. I think Easton Park is equally as awesome now. It's just different.
Yeah.
It's just growing and busier, and I like that too. It's good for all of us.
Absolutely. I definitely can. I love both parts because I love people coming in here. Someone was telling me, I was like talking about Easton Park, and he's like, you should run for the mayor of Easton Park. And I was like, I'm really excited about our community and the development and what's happening and all the things. I've just recently started like working out again, and I started going to the Optimize Daily. And honestly, at first I was like, oh, I just don't really want to do these classes. I was like, I just want to be social, but I don't want to do these classes. And then the classes are women of like groups of 6. And I get to be so social and work out. And I just love that that's offered here. Mm-hmm. Obviously it's a little bit extra, but it's worth the convenience. The fact that even the trainers live in Easton Park. Yeah. That is, I don't know. I literally love it.
Yeah, it's hard to beat. It's just a really community focused, community driven community, and it's all about community. And I don't know that you can't like go stamp this somewhere else. It's so unique. And I think that we've had just really incredibly kind and interesting and unique people move into Easton Park. It's a very open-minded community. It's a very accepting community. Right. And I think that just gives us all the ability to just mesh with anyone. It feels like everybody's friends, and it's just a safe place to be.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, you do know. I work at a poker room. I do some of my network at Shuffle. And I just love seeing like my neighbors come in, and I'm like, hey, what's going on, neighbor? And just things like that. I mean, the poker club is a huge thing. And I think a lot of those clubs did start in COVID. It was just kind of like, how can we have small groups of people get together where we're talking about things that we're interested in? Because there really is so many different diverse people in here, and everybody has different likes, and everybody likes something different, and that is completely okay. Like,
totally normal.
I love that. I love it.
Me too.
I have some clients that had sold. They were over here in Nob Hill, and they moved to Colorado. And she's like, Araceli, like, I miss Easton Park so much. She's like, my neighborhood's great. Our house is beautiful, but there's nothing that compares to what Easton Park is and, you know, how it continues to grow. So,
It's awesome.
yeah.
Thank you so much, Araceli. Today's been great. I love talking about Easton Park, and I love talking about real estate. If anyone needs to reach out to Araceli for help,
All the things.
all the things, buying a house, selling a house, philanthropy, hanging out at the pool,
Recommendation on a service that one of your neighbors might offer, I'm here for it. I know an HR person, so let me know.
awesome. We'll see you next time, everyone.